On tonight's episode of Top Gear Stunt School, we find out if either wind or solar power is the future of motorsport, we nearly send a Stig into space, and all of that is to see how much quicker I can make the quickest cars in the world. Right then guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for my second episode on Top Gear Stunt School. Well, true to my word from the first episode in this series, if any of you have any comments for ideas, suggestions for challenges, or certain things I could get the Stig to do in this series, then, be sure to leave them down in the comments. And that is exactly what Dan did, because Dan left a comment, why don't I get the F1 car and fit rockets at the back of it? The downforce on the F1 car in this game is, there's less downforce than you would expect, much less downforce actually. So I'm going to do that, but actually I had this greater challenge planned. I was going to do it later on, but since this comment came up, I'm going to do it in this episode. And that is, just how much quicker can I make a Formula 1 car? Now, Formula 1, obviously a sport I've covered extensively on this channel. And Formula 1 in the 21st century alone has had, to varying extents, these manufacturers competing. Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari, BMW with two different teams, Honda, Toyota, Ford. Obviously Ford produced engines back in the day, and also I think they did with the new teams that came in 2010 initially. And I guess you could even argue to some extent that Spiker and Marussia are also smaller car manufacturers. So we're talking a sport which attracts car manufacturers, millions and millions is pumped into it every single season across all of the teams, and you've got the smartest designers and engineers in the business designing the quickest cars. And I'm going to see, just using brute ignorance, whether I can make an F1 car quicker. So on the Stig trial, get customizing. So first off, we need to know what we're dealing with here. So here is the F1 car, and as you can see at the top, Stig speed, the strength is poor, but glue is going to be stuck to the ground, and well, also it's going to be stuck to the ground because it's grounded, which basically means that there's no wings or hang gliders or anything like that on it. So let's just see what we got to work with, and can we improve upon what is basically perfection in the motorsport world. So away we go, a decent start. Now the downforce, I said the downforce is, there is downforce on this car with the front wing and rear wing, but it's certainly less than you would expect. But going around the first corner, I mean, it's difficult to commentate a Formula 1 lap. Also, this car is not as quick as you would expect. Now, we all know that in Top Gear, they actually had the Renault F1 car, which I think did a 59-second lap. They also had that sort of Lotus F1 car you could sort of buy. Well, not an F1 car, but the Lotus open-wheeler F1 type car that you could buy. And I think that did a lap time, I think from memory, of about 1 minute 9, 1 minute 8. But obviously it was disqualified because, it had slick tyres. Now this F1 car is much slower than the pair of them. A 1 minute 13.88 lap time. So that's what we got to work with. Obviously, because Dan left a comment, let's just fit rockets on the back. I mean, that would be the ignorant way to improve an F1 car, because, I mean, you look at this, how can you improve it? Well, if you go towards the back, to be fair, now Dan said that obviously the downforce is abysmal, but to be fair, to fit rockets on the back, you do have to take off the rear wing. So, you're not really helping the kind of perfect design of the car. But anyway, rockets. Now this would just be the brute ignorant, the stupid way of trying to make a car quicker. Because, just get a quick car with a quick engine, slap some rockets on the back, job done. Well, we'll see if it is job done. So, away we go. Now, look at that rapid acceleration. There's nothing else for it, but it's gone. And it's done. Wow. A complete flip, landed on its wheels. But that did not go well. Right, let's have another look at that, because it just took off. Now, we all know F1 cars are basically planes upside down, but that literally did take off. Let's have another look at this. So, it's just going down, so it's got the slight kink right. Whoa! That's not a plane anymore. That is a missile. I've never done a proper comparative test, but the game says that the sail makes cars quicker, and it does seem to be the case, so I'll take his word for it. So, yeah, let's see how this works. Right, and away we go. Now, this should, in theory, propel the car along. Only a slight amount. It might only be a slight improvement, but, well, let's see. So, I mean, this looks ridiculous. I mean, I said, you know, we're meant to be improving F1. I mean, there's objections to the Halo come 2018, but this... I mean, if this is how to... I mean, you know, if this... I mean, actually, sliding around Hammerhead, but I mean, if this is how you improve F1, I don't want it. I really don't, because it looks stupid. And also, the problem with wind power is obviously wind only goes in one direction, so you can have a headwind one way, but a tailwind the other. So actually, it should kind of average out as being about the same, and in fact, around a lap... Oh, that is 0.02 of a second improvement from the sail. So there you go, we got just about enough propulsion from the sail to counteract the extra weight and air resistance generated from it. So there you go. F1 cars would be 0.02 of a second a lap quicker if they had a sail bolted to the top of them. Now I should point out that the sail isn't the only upgrade you can fit to your car, which does make a slight performance increase. I think the air intake does, and I also believe that the solar panel also has a similar minor improvement. And I'm not going to bore you with showing the entire lap, but I am going to do a lap with the F1 car with an air intake on the top and a solar panel just to see if there is any slight improvement. Well, it's a less ridiculous looking lap, but actually noticeably quicker, a 1 minute 12.08. So there you go, the sail had a minor improvement, the air intake had a massive improvement. Right, well that is definitely something to keep in mind, but the thing is there's certain areas of the car which just have, where you can do so much more with. The top, there's a lot of things you can do. There's also the nitro tank, the jet engine. The rear, there's lots of things you can do, but then you've got the sides. There is nothing performance enhancing on the sides. No, it's just things that make the car worse. I mean, reactive armor, what good's that going to be apart from weighing down the car? So, yeah, I am going to also, as I said, I will do a lap with the solar panel, but I imagine the solar panel is going to be more comparable to the sail's improvement than it is to the air intakes. Rather surprising improvement, actually. I didn't expect the air intake to be that much better than the sail. Right, well this just looks stupid, because this looks like there's someone who's driving an F1 car that has just stolen a solar panel. And is there any improvements? Yeah, there is, a 1 minute 13.5, so that's quicker than an F1 car with a sail, but much slower than an F1 car with an air intake. We want the air intake on, that's the best thing you can fit at the top. The nitro tank, I'm sure people will be looking at that. The thing is, though, the nitro tank, it's one of these parts which has a limited amount of fuel. Now, also, that's the problem with the Stig's intelligence is, well, in this game he doesn't have any intelligence. So the nitro tank has only got a limited usage. Now, obviously, you would prioritise when you use it, you know, at the start, through the follow-through. But no, the Stig on this game will just use it from the start until it runs out. Which, you could argue actually using a nitro tank at the start, probably one of the better parts of the track to use it, but he'll just use the nitro tank initially for a big improvement, and then the rest of the lap will be as standard. The standard F1 car with, well, that bolted to the roof. So it will be a temporary improvement, but definitely worth considering. But then again, the nitro tank provides a temporary but small improvement in straight line speed, whereas the jet engine provides a temporary but massive boost in straight line speed. So there's not really any point testing the nitro tank when you can test the jet engine. So let's see how well this goes. Now, with the rockets it didn't go well, but with the rockets you had to take off the rear wing, and also I think the rockets are slightly more powerful than the jet engine. So here's the problem, because if there's more fuel still left in the jet engine, which I don't think there is, because if there's more fuel left, then the Stig would just keep using it around the first corner. But I think we've run out of jet engine fuel. At least I'm fairly certain that's how the Stig functions, but anyway. So it should be a massive performance in straight line speed, a massive performance increase in straight line speed. Actually really slow after Hammerhead. But then again, he has got to lug around a jet engine on his roof. But yeah, there should be a big boost in acceleration at the start, but now, well, it's nothing, it's just an F1 car as standard. And in fact, I don't think this lap's going to be all that quick. In fact, it's not that quick at all. It's miles off. The standard lap was a 1:13.8. This is going to be a 1:24.3. So there you go. Jet-powered F1 cars are not the future. In fact, they're 10.5 seconds a lap off the pace. Now the front's a waste of time. The front, much like the sides, it's all just dead weight. There's nothing performance enhancing. We may as well just keep on the wing, the front wing. At the rear, is there really anything better than the rear wing? Well, the only thing I can think of that might be is the propeller. Because, for example, the jet engine and the rockets, well, we never really saw it with the rockets, but the jet engine and the rockets, they both only have a limited amount of fuel. The propellers don't. They can keep spinning forever, so the Stig won't just use them during the straight until they run out of fuel. There is no fuel, so the Stig will use the propellers all the time, even around corners. Which does mean that the propeller is kind of a hit or miss item, because the speed boost it can provide can be massive, but because the Stig, well, has it on all the time, yeah, it can mean that the corners are a bit leery, especially as we're taking off the rear wing. But, well, this could be the holy grail of car performance, or it could be a complete waste of time, but we'll see. Right then, away we go, and that is a sprightly start. Now, there's nothing particularly new in Formula 1 about strapping a fan to the back of a car, but there is in... Oh, right, okay, no, we've lost time here, right, okay, it's a dead weight. Right, the Stig, I think, is going to reject this. But the real worry is that's not even a braking corner. Chicago is. Yeah, okay, he's recovered that, but this is what I mean. The propeller is on all the time, so for a Formula 1 car, it just doesn't work. So Hammerhead, yeah, there you go, and the Stig's rejected it. Right, let's have another look, because maybe the Stig, he just needs some time to bed into it, so we'll watch him go again, and no. Okay, somehow the car's blown up, so I don't know how the Stig managed that, but that is, yeah, that's not a success, right. But I don't think that exhausts actually provide any sort of performance increase, but we'll see, because apparently there is no exhaust fitted to the car. We may as well fit the race car exhaust, and, well, let's see if it makes a blind bit of difference. Do you know what? This is going to be close. I didn't commentate this lap because I thought there'd be no point, but it's going to be close. No, it's going to be slightly slower, I think. A 1:12.3, yeah, I think adding that bit of metal to the car, the exhaust, I don't quite know how this car didn't have an exhaust actually, but just adding that bit of metal to the back has added 0.3 of a second to the car's lap time, which isn't that much of a surprise because, well, as I said, you're bolting metal to the car which wasn't there before and the car functioned perfectly fine without it, so yeah, what's the point of putting it on? So then I'm going to try out the wing flap, and I'll be honest, this is a part I never use in this game. I just don't, because as far as I'm concerned, acceleration and straight line speed and top end speed is more important than braking. So I just never use this part. But there you go, this might be a hidden gem. However, to use it, I've had to take off the air intake, and the air intake provided, what, a second a lap improvement? I think, what was it, 1.8 seconds a lap improvement? So this wing flap, it's really got to help the braking, but I think it just might, because we all know that the Stig goes way too fast into... He does into Chicago, he definitely does into Hammerhead. So actually, if there's anything that can help him with his braking, although I'm noticing that the wing flap's up, I don't think it really needs to be for the first corner. Well, I guess, to be fair, he does need to brake to some extent, but it was up for quite a while. But Chicago was taken, I think, the best I've ever seen a Stig take Chicago. Around Hammerhead, slowed down. No, he's taken that Hammerhead pretty much the same way he always does. Anyway, so here's the problem, here's where he's going to miss the air intake. He's not going to get the extra air into the engine, and no, it just isn't going to work, is it? No, this is slower. Not much slower, but noticeably slower. So it's a 1:14.3, so yeah, so the wing flap actually made the standard F1 car about half a second a lap slower. I'm starting to think that the tyres is the only area which we can actually improve the car, although, of course, this racing car comes with racing car tyres, so in theory they should be the quickest, but there are... I mean, I had a look, there are a few different tyres which might be quicker, so I'm just going to quickly cut between them and see if I can actually find any tyres which are better than the racing car slicks. So currently the Stig's out there on super slick tyres, and as you can see by the time, they're just not an improvement. These are some really bad tyres. Going around the final corner, up in the air, a dramatic finish, but that is a 1 minute 18.8 second lap time. That is, yeah, that's quite poor. Right, look at these. Hopefully these can be good. They're wide, they're tall, they're grippy, they're called sticky wheels, and look at them. This, hopefully, should be the holy grail in performance that we're looking for. Okay, I have no idea how that happened. These tyres are plainly awful, so the Stig's just sliding around. They're just not good. Well, coming round the final corner, this is an atrocious lap, extremely wide, and that is a 1 minute 27.6 on these so-called sticky wheels. So these tyres are very situational, because in this, a high-speed lap, they were useless. But I do know from experience these tyres are useful in other challenges, but they're not useful here. Right, hang on, this is looking good actually. These are supercar tyres. These are the tyres I least expected to be an improvement. I thought the sticky wheels or the super slicks would do the job. These supercar tyres are the last hurrah, and actually they're looking quite good. So 1 minute 12, actually, no, round the final corner, slightly slower, a 1:13.0, but actually those tyres were looking incredibly good, and it's weird that the supercar tyres are so close in performance to the race car tyres when every other tyre I tried was miles off the racing car slicks. This has been an almost pointless video because most of the parts I've tried have either slowed down the car, or if they have made the car quicker, they haven't made it as quick as, well, the air intake. So I really am, I mean, I'm out of ideas. I really am. I've only got 2 ideas, 2 possible improvements left, and one of them is the nitro tank. I ruled it out earlier on, but honestly, I'm clutching at straws, and I'm hoping that, yes, the jet engine, that was dead weight, that was not an improvement at all, but I'm hoping the nitro tank, yes, it provides less of a boost, but it also is much lighter, so hopefully the temporary boost of the nitro tank can outweigh the small but permanent boost of the air intake. Hopefully, well, I mean, let's see. So here we are coming up to the follow through, and this is looking okay, but this could be just around a similar time to the standard car. So the standard F1 car sets a time of 1 minute 13.8. With an air intake, it was 1:12 dead, and with a nitro tank, it's a 1:12.5. So actually slightly slower. So the nitro tank, much better than the jet engine, and better than pretty much every other part you can stick on the roof. But as it turns out, the best part you can stick on the roof, I mean, I doubt any of these other ones. I mean, the log is not going to be helpful, is it? So yeah, the best part is an air intake, but actually the nitro tank isn't too bad. So really, all we've done to an F1 car is stick an air intake on the top, which obviously makes sense. The more air going into the engine, the bigger the bang, the more power that can be extracted, and obviously the quicker the speed. So it makes sense. It's actually surprisingly scientific for a game as wild and wacky as this one. So this is it. The final category I can really go into, and that is the engines. Of course, the category which has by far and away the biggest influence over a car's speed, and there's only one engine which I think could be quicker than the race car engine. Like we saw with the tyres, the race car tyres are the best. However, in the engines, I don't think that's the case. I think the race car engine can be beaten, possibly, by the Super V8 engine, because look at that. It's wild, it's sprawling out over the car. It's actually got little thrusters on the back, as you can see. There you go. Those are little thrusters that help propel the car along. So it's an internal combustion engine with a couple of jets on the back. So this might be quicker than the race car engine. So this is the final part that could possibly improve a Formula 1 car, and that is this ridiculous Super V8 engine. Right, so here we go, and I'll show you the entire lap for this. So, that is a slow start, but then the jet engines get whirring, and away we go. So this is effectively a jet engine, and I think we should see out of the back, there should be a little bit of flame. Or maybe not, but we saw that atrocious start. Those first couple of seconds, they were atrocious. It just jolted forward, and then the jets started whirring up. So, now that we've actually got some power, think of it as a massive turbo. That, you know, at low speed, low RPM, you've got nothing. But once it whirs up, the power is immense. And actually, we're going through the tyres now under the minute mark. This is looking good. Now, let's not forget, the standard F1 car was a 1:13.8. With an air intake, it was 1 minute 12.08. And coming round the line, that is a 1 minute 11.39 lap. So there you go. That is an improvement to F1 cars. And there you go. I think that is it. So there you have it. That is pretty much the quickest I can get an F1 car to go on this game. Now, of course, if you did this yourself, you might notice slight differences. For example, if I tried the nitro tank now with this engine, you might actually see an improvement actually, because the nitro tank will give you some acceleration at the start to counteract the poor acceleration of this engine. And also the supercar tyres might actually work with this engine for some inexplicable reason. And if I sent the Stig out in this exact car to do another lap, he might be a bit quicker, he might be a bit slower. There could be 2 or 3 attempts to be gained or lost just by sending the Stig out to do another lap. But honestly, we've gone through all of the possible parts that could make a difference and improvement to Formula 1, and we found it. I mean, let's not forget, the standard F1 car did a lap time of 1 minute 13.8, and I've been able to get a Formula 1 car down to 1 minute 11.3 by just changing the engine and adding an air intake. And in theory, an air intake, that's something every F1 team could do, but I mean, it's probably restricted by the rules, to be honest. But yes, so there you have it. That is, near as damn it, a 2.5 second improvement. And this is a short lap, this is a short track. So a 2.5 second a lap improvement around this short circuit is actually remarkably good. And actually, in Formula 1, 2.5 seconds, that would take you from the front right towards the back actually. So this is, I mean, if Sauber, there you go Sauber, if you want some advice for next year, there you go. You don't need Ferrari, you don't need a Ferrari alliance, you do not need Alfa Romeo, you just need me and these plans. So, but yeah, I think that's everything. So, yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys for another episode on this game where who knows what I'll be doing. If you've got any suggestions, be sure to leave them down in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time for the next episode in this series.